Okay, welcome to another episode of Pot and Politics with Mr. Brophy. Today we are going to be smoking some Nugget, which is what I call any weed that I have no idea what it actually is. I got this out at Electric Forest and Michigan Festival, brought it back with me, I smoked this up, talked about a couple of things. All right. Ooh, that's good. So, I just got back from vacation and gone like 2 weeks. I haven't really caught up on all the latest stories or anything yet. But the first things I always do when I get home, I check out Debbie was singing over at Sam Progressive, see what's up, see what her take on everything is, because you just can't find a better critical thinker on the internet for the progressive side of things, just street level. And she's over there and she's changing the direction of her channel, trying to figure out what she's doing with it. Wants to move into, I think she was saying, disengagement, not being involved in the system at all. And I get it. You know, she said she's been doing this for a long time and she's not getting anywhere with it. She's watching everything get co-opted again and again and again and again. And I can see that being incredibly discouraging. You know, I don't know if I would, you know, have the fortitude that she's had to do it for this long, having seen everything go this way again and again and again. But the one thing I really worry about with her moving away from topical news coverage, she brought up the valid points. Like, everyone knows the politicians lie. Everyone knows the system is corrupt. Everyone knows about the deep state that's actually listening. But the thing is, yeah, that's the people that we're generally talking to, or that we think we're talking to as progressives. We think we're talking to other people who know the same things we do, that are exposed to the same information we have. We generally see the world through our own eyes. Well, I know that a little more than a year ago, and I've been following politics for a while, I love this shit. It really interests me. This is what decides who lives and dies in our society. Like, if you're not into politics, then what the hell are you into? You're burying your head in the sand. Nothing else affects your life more than this. And you have very little effect on it. You should really understand why that is. Anyway, off topic. The thing that worries me about Debbie moving away from topical news is that she was really great at exposing all of the background stories on things. She was great at collating all this information that's out there from all these sources and putting it in not a news snippet, but putting it in context. Putting, like, this is how they manipulate the system. This is another example. This is how they did it before. This is how they do it again. This is how it follows that same pattern. And I think, as much as you feel it's like you're not getting through to anyone, Debbie, like, you really are changing how people see what's going on and how they're moving forward. Wow. Feels pretty weird with the other headphone out. Never mind. So anyway, I think we need you to still do topical stories, because what you do isn't so much changing anything politically, but it's changing what people know. It's changing the scope of what they know. It's giving them the ability to go, no, I know that this has happened now. I mean, yeah, you've been doing this for a while. You've been dealing with progressive, but how many 20-year-olds know about the co-opting of the Rainbow Coalition? I didn't know about it. I'm 38. Like, that information is important. That knowledge, that breadth of what's going on is important. The fact that you were so good at going back into any war stories and going, all right, this is what was said beforehand. These are the setups. These were what was being said before anything even happened, you know, precursors to an attack, things that were being ramped up months in advance, years in advance. Like, giving everything context is really, I think, one of the most important things we are missing in progressive independent media, or just, I'm not even going to say progressive, I'm just going to go with independent media of integrity. I mean, I listen to some people that are on the right. I will listen to anyone as a news source that I can go check, find out that they're giving me accurate information, and that I know is reporting with integrity, isn't going to obscure or omit things just because it doesn't suit their narrative or point of view. People who put truth first, I trust. I'll check their information. I may disagree with their premise completely. I may disagree with their politics. We may vote completely different, but I will still listen to their opinion on something because I know they're going to give me facts that other people who want me to go with their vote, who don't want me to make an informed decision, but want me to make their decision, are not going to give me. That's really important. Debbie giving context to all these things, to all these stories, bringing in people that, you know, from more of the peaceful side of things, people that are more into, you know, the anti-war movement and things, giving them a platform and bringing them to her people who, you know, may be more interested in her attacking the politicians, the Democrats. Like, all right, if they're going to turn to you because you've got a great piece attacking the Democrats again and you don't feel like doing it, please do it, because you bring them in, and then when you explain the connection to the deep state, you explain how it's been done again. That's what gets people thinking of it as a systemic problem, a systemic change. You're helping kill the 24-hour news cycle. And if anything in progressive media needs to be done, multiple things I've heard, they're really, really incredible ideas, is one, we need to create our own echo chamber. We need to talk about our issues, not what they want us to talk about, not the next big scandal, but we have to remain relevant. We have to draw in new people. There are 16-year-olds who are going to be voting for president in 2 years. They weren't paying attention to anything in politics this year. They know the name Bernie Sanders. Who's going to teach them that the primaries were rigged? That 11 out of 26 states had margins of error on the exit pollings that our own State Department won't recognize. Nobody else is talking about that except Debbie Lusignan, like on a regular basis in a big way, and just drilling it home and drilling it home. It's like H.A. Goodman in the Clinton emails. I know more about the Clinton emails from listening to H.A. Goodman when I wasn't even paying attention to him. Like, I would have him on in the background as I'm playing video games. He's just driving home these points, driving home these points, driving home these points. How do you get special access program intelligence from a secure government server off of it onto a private server? Moving it, period, is a crime. You can't have it there. There's the crime. But nobody else is talking about that. H.A. Goodman's drilling it home. That would have gone, all right, in my head, out one ear. I would have argued about it for a month. But for months, Goodman drove it home. The unsecured private server for 3 months that could have been hacked. These are important things to drive home. Everyone in this media has their niche, I guess. And I don't want to lose Debbie's niche because I think she ties everything together. I think she's probably the best critical thinker for the masses that we have. And that's really what it is. It's like, it's really easy for people to know that they're being lied to by the Democrats, by the Republicans, by the big money interests, but we are not trained in this society to critical think. And that is a skill that is both taught and experiential. I'm not good at describing it. I can listen to something and I can sit here with my girlfriend. I can pick it apart. I can be like, they're not telling you that. They're leaving this out. They're skewing the numbers by going, with percentages, rather than by per capita, like depending on the story. But I can explain to someone how to critical think. I wish I could. I'm sure there's classes for it, but people don't have time for that. I'm busting my ass. I walk fucking an hour and a half to work one way and an hour and a half home. I'm busting my ass. I ain't got time to do this. I ain't got time to look up and educate myself more on barely the things I know. I have to go and find people who have had the time and had the experience to educate themselves, and I have to listen to them, and then I have to go and verify the important parts and see, all right, what's going on here? What can I get? I have to get the gist of things. I have to be able to educate myself enough to vote rationally and make informed policy decisions, knowing full well that I am never going to have the capability to be an expert. But as Lee Stranahan was saying earlier on a Periscope I was watching, he held out his phone. He made a very good point. Right here, all of you, everyone in the world has a phone like this. You have access to more information in your hand than monarchs, kings, rulers, and billionaires had 10 years ago. This is power. We have the ability to learn and to teach each other faster. That's an amazing concept. I think we're also underutilizing a lot of our resources. I'm just going to move on to guerrilla activism. If Debbie ever sees this, so hopefully she decides to do some topical stuff. One of the other things I've heard said was guerrilla activism, and I really like this idea. Now, I'm not going for any like crazy things like this, but the idea I heard that I really liked was, why are we not showing up to the events that the establishment is putting on? All right, let's co-opt their events. Let's make this an actual strategy among independents. It's like, all right, what is our issue? What issue are we going for? If we're going to go for universal healthcare, it's like we show up to all their events, Republican and Democrat. We show up with our signs. We show up, we talk to people, and we talk to the people there, and we bring them to our side. I mean, I know there's a lot of people attacking like the Left Forum and, you know, some other big, you know, funded giant left things. It's like, oh, it's just a co-op job, and they're just trying to get us back into the Democratic Party. And it's like, they are. They're spending millions of dollars to try and convince you of two things. People are forgetting the second thing. It's not just about convincing you to join the Democratic Party. The other thing is to convince the people who already know what's going on that it's impossible to change, and get them to back out, to get them to disengage, to get them to stop telling new people what's going on, what the truth is, and bringing them in. Apathy is the number one weapon of the oligarchy. Apathy. Disinterest, despair. That's what they use. When you're so beat down that you don't care anymore, that you've given up hope, that you can only focus on what you're doing, you can't see what power you have and how you can use it, or how it was being used and why they're trying to push you aside. I mean, people want to talk about Bernie Sanders is this, you know, this big miracle thing, and I'm the man aside. Let's talk about what we actually learned is completely separate from the man. What is it? $247 million were raised. $27 at a time. Now people are talking about, oh, we gotta unify, we gotta find a way forward, we gotta find plans, nobody's got a good idea, you know, how we're gonna do this. Here's an idea. Banking. Anybody that's, you know, into history and stuff will tell you the first step towards any sort of revolution is to create a power system outside of the dynamic that exists. Right now, the problem we have is that all of our money and everything is controlled by big banks and giant corporations. Your house, your loan, your ability to feed yourself. This is what it is. It's like people are like, oh, we have a democracy. Your democracy doesn't function. Your voting machines are rigged. You can watch the HBO special on it. I'm not going to sit here and argue about whether or not the votes are rigged. They're rigged. That's a fact. It's provable. If you don't want to look it up, well, you're a dumbass. Not my fucking fault. The information's there. But the point being, as Professor Wolf has discussed, we've created democracy in our government. Theoretically, we got to clean it up. But the idea, the concept, and the way we wrote it up, fucking fantastic. We just did a shit job taking care of it. If you don't fucking change the spark plugs, put oil in your fucking car, it's gonna fucking die out, and we have done some horrible fucking shit to this engine. Horrible. Everybody was smoking weed in the back, and this shit's on fire. Speaking of which, but as he stated, we need to move towards democracy in the workplace as well. Right now, your entire life, your ability to live, die, and feed your family is dictated by 20 people in a boardroom who have no idea who you are, where you are, what your problems are, and they don't care. And to some extent, that's blatantly evil. Actually, to a great extent, that's blatantly evil. Like, have some fucking compassion, you rich son of a bitch. Duh. But this is also the system and the life that they've been raised into. They don't see you as people. They don't see me as people. They've never met us. It's like, I'm sure if I met some of these people, it would probably be nice to me. They'll probably be decent human beings on a personal level. They don't take into consideration the large-scale consequences of their actions. They assume that since everyone else is doing it and this is how they survive, that they must do it in order to survive. They're not bad. They're just going along. Going along is killing millions of people. Going along has 50% of this country in extreme poverty. Going along has dead babies in the street. That's fucking evil, but think of it that way. I don't think they ever think, oh, I'm going to fucking make an extra couple $1,000,000 this year by cutting wages. They don't think, I'm going to make a couple extra $1,000,000 this year by killing somebody's kid because they can't afford medicine. That's the result. People aren't thinking in the terms of results, though. 247 million, though. Think about that. We've got a huge problem with housing in this country. What about crowdsourcing cooperative bank? Only charge people 2% interest for house loans. You can do that with 247 million. You can start that. As a matter of fact, if you look around independent media and the voices that are talking on the left, you've got an amazing amount of talent that actually has the skill set to do these types of jobs. Who actually know how to do it. You got Richard Wolff, kind of smart Blythe. I think these guys could figure out how to put together a cooperative crowdfunded bank. Right? I mean, shit, somebody want to get a hold of this? See if it's a good idea? I don't know. I'm not a money guy. But it would work. I tell you, I worked on a project years ago back in Brockton. It was called the Nehemiah Housing Initiative. I was just trying to help it get it done. And I remember it very loosely. And I could just give you the basic rundown of it. And it was a really great concept. And it was run by a group called Brockton Interfaith Organization. A bunch of like local churches of all different religions got together. Like, we got to take care of our people. Like, that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what our differences are. We all agree that God, whatever, wants us to take care of each other and be good to each other. And the first thing we need to do is we need to take care of the people near us. So what they were doing is they were trying to get permission and zoning to build quote-unquote low-income housing, but not the low-income housing that major contractors take advantage of, where they put in low-income housing and it's quote-unquote low-income, and that rent stays there for a few years, and then after the time that they need to get their tax breaks, it goes up and it gets pushed into middle and upper middle-class families, which now, because of low wages, can't even afford it, so that's going to collapse too, but fuck them. But the idea behind this was the church, as an organization, would buy and build houses, and then they would have people come in, you know, low-income families, and they would sell them these houses at cost or at 1% flat, and then that money would all be kept track of and invested back in to buy another house, to get another family in. And by doing this, and same thing with apartments, by doing this, you could continually increase and not put a burden on those families. It's not large scale, it's not a federal level, but it's something you can do at a local level. Now with Bernie Sanders and the internet, $247 million for an old socialist to try and get him past all of the bullshit that we knew we were going to have to go through to try and get that man into office. And we did it. We bled, we cried, we sweat, we put our money in, we did everything we could to get that man into office. We busted our ass. And irrelevant of him or what happens afterward, that's something we, as the American people who did it, should be goddamn proud of. You know, that wasn't a Democrat thing. It wasn't. That was independents. That was progressives. That was people who had given up voting or had never even thought about it. We put together $247 million out of our pocket because we decided we wanted to when we talked to each other on the fucking internet. So why can't we decide to do something big with that money? Why don't we decide as independent media or the voices in it to start talking about some ideas on what we can do for it with it? Me, I've been homeless, so I want to build people houses. I think banking is the way to go. Also, you need to destroy the big banks. Now, I'm sure there are economists out there and stuff that can tell you if we can start generating money, and I'm talking like, something like open source, like Bitcoin, like, all right, everyone who's donating to this gets, ledgers, it tells it how everything is spent. It's all completely open, like a worker cooperative. Maybe we elect, some of the guys to run it, whatever, but we all have a say in it. We all vote on it. It does what we, as the people, want it to do. It is our bank, our money. We take care of our neighbors. This is just an idea. People are saying they want ideas for what to move forward. What can we do? There's an idea on what to move forward. You want another idea on what to move forward or how to move forward? You need to destroy the Republican and Democratic parties, or the one corporate party. More accurately, they're the same party. Literally, it's the party of the rich, and all they're designed to do differently is to keep you fighting and not turn against the rich. That's it. What has either party done to help you? To seriously help you in the last 40 years? Answer that question honestly. Not what have they fought off, not what have they got, oh, we stopped the other guys from doing it. What have they done to actually help you, your family, your fellow Americans? Ain't much. They gotta go. They're not serving us. They are corrupt, and they are designed to prevent us from being able to exercise our democratic freedoms. You want to destroy the two parties? Let's start utilizing all the fucking out-of-work people we have in this country. Let me ask you something. How many out-of-work private investigators are there? Guys just looking to do some work. Girls just looking to do some work. We could decide to crowdfund some of these people if they were reputable. Find them. Hey, go do some digging around in the Democratic Party. Private investigator style. Find out what kind of corruption you can turn up. How many of these guys could we crowdfund? Go find out on the Republican Party. Exactly what are they doing? What can you turn up? All legally. We can do this within the system. If we utilize the system to our advantage. If we understand how it works and how we can make it work for us. I mean, people are getting kidney transplants and things being funded through crowdfunding. People going on vacation crowdfunded. Pooling resources together, we can do more. And fundamentally, that's what government is too. Like I hate when people are like, the problem is the government. The problem isn't government. Government is our expression of our will. Like theoretically, that's what it's supposed to be, and it's our fault for letting it get to this point. Legit. Well, the American people as a whole through generations, it's not exactly my fault for getting it led to this point. I haven't been able to vote all that long, and it was not a viable vote by the time I got here. But you know what? If I don't take responsibility for my actions and talk about what's actually going on and try to take some action to change things, then I am responsible when I hand it to my daughter. You're responsible when you hand it to your kids. Do we deserve it? Did we make this mess? No, but we better fucking clean it. I'm 38 and I'm up there. We're the ones fucking it up now. My generation is in power. Well, except for the upper crust stuff, because that's always fucking 80-year-old bastards with way too much money. But we're all the middle managers and all the upper fucking management. Like, my generation is fucking it up now. I hear a lot of people talking shit about, the young kids and the millennials. It's like, motherfucker, why are you talking shit about them? They haven't had a chance to screw it up yet. We bitched all through the fucking 90s about how fucked it up was. We listened to Rage Against the Machine, Megadeth, and Metallica, and what did we do? Nothing. What are we doing now? Bombing the shit out of countries all over the goddamn world. For no fucking reason. And every goddamn American knows that it's for no fucking reason. Knows that it doesn't make us safer. Knows that we're not stopping terrorism. We've been at war for fucking 16 years, and there's more terrorist attacks all over the world than there was when we started. So there, mathematically, we failed. Done. End of story. You tried. All right? Fuck you. We're killing people for no reason other than to advance the military-industrial complex, to keep people at war nationally so that workers internationally don't unite. Because that's what they're really, truly terrified of. You have to remember, the most terrifying thing that ever happened to capitalism is the Bolshevik revolt when the Russians rose up and fucking took their shit. Everybody freaked out and they decided there cannot be any of this. If we have to give concessions now and demonize them, then that's what we got to do to make sure that our workers don't get the idea to do this, or more importantly, that they don't get the idea to unite with workers around the world. Because if you couldn't ship jobs to China, where they're being paid shit wages and they've got nets so they don't commit suicide outside the Apple factories, right? Or the Walmart or whatever it was. Look up the stories. You can find them. If we went on strike with them and they couldn't pay them those wages, they couldn't exploit it. They couldn't ship the jobs over there. If we all refused to work for those shit wages, if we all demanded a minimum standard of living to be able to feed our families, to be able to have an education, to be able to have a house and food. Like, that's basic stuff. And that's something that government needs to provide. And I mean, mathematically, that's something government needs to provide. This isn't even a philosophical issue anymore at this point. It's like, you cannot provide for yourself. There's 300 million goddamn people in this country. You can't return to an agrarian fucking goddamn society. You're not going to just retreat from the fucking world and start farming. There isn't enough land to fucking do it. You can't go backwards. Get your head out of your fucking ass. Right? That's not a viable solution. It's just not. What we do have is an incredibly diverse and talented group of people with an incredible amount of knowledge and capability and technology at our fingertips that we could be utilizing for so much goddamn more if we could just get these dipshits off the throne. And that's what it is. They're on a throne. You don't elect them, but they decide whether you live or die. They don't do it with a sword, they do it with a pen. Where's the difference? You still have no say. You're still dictated to by them. We're still not choosing our own destiny, which is the whole point of democracy, which is what we have been struggling for, let's just admit it, thousands of years as humanity. It's just one desperate struggle after another to put some new asshole on top and go, please, treat us better than the last asshole. Nope, you're no good. Take him down. All right, we got a better system, and this time it won't produce an asshole. Oh, no, we got another asshole. You have to stop, as a people, empowering leaders, because the system, no matter how well you think you design it, will always become corrupt. Our founding fathers understood it. That's why the Constitution is a brilliant fucking piece of legislation. The elastic clause is amazing and leads to a whole shitload of fucking trouble. But it's fucking amazing. We just utilize it poorly. And, you know, I worry that people are confusing their government with their politicians. Like, our government is merely our pooling of resources and deciding what to do with what we produce in this country. That's all government is. It's us deciding to keep ourselves safe, deciding to give ourselves fire, like departments, police, like this. This is us deciding to fund it. Like, we all have to work and get resources, and it all gets around, and the economy and everything, and people get what they need. Like, it's not like the old barter system. Like, I make chairs. Not everyone needs a chair. But you know what? If I make enough chairs and we create a big enough economy, somehow me helping make this chair helps them put that space shuttle up there. Because it creates work. It creates space and resources. It creates education, new technologies. Like, why are we not thinking of our government like this? Why are we thinking it as some kind of monstrosity that's holding us down, or some necessary evil that we need just because we need a military so other people won't come in and stomp our asses out? It's like, well, yeah, that's legit. And anyone who thinks that it isn't is wrong. You need a military so other people don't come in and stomp your ass out. Legit. I have no problem with the size of our military. I have a problem with what we use it for, and I have a problem that we don't spend our resources taking care of our people before we build giant things to blow the fuck out of things. But I have no problem with having the absolute biggest military on the earth and the best equipped. Stop fucking killing innocent people with it. We take some of that money, maybe build spaceships, put something on the moon, like, you know, biospheres, domes, so we can start working on colonization where we can test it out pretty close, easy to get fucking supplies to, easy to evacuate people from. You know, if we're going to be starting, you know, colonies out on Mars and shit like that, which is what they're talking about, why are we not starting some shit on the moon? Test runs? Like, we should be back in a space race. We should be in a freaking medicine race. We shouldn't be in an arms race. We've got nuclear weapons, all right? The race is over. The race is fucking over. Anybody who decides to go to the last leg, we all go boom. Dead. Done. Done. The fuck are you fighting over anymore? Seriously. You don't need to build bigger and better weapons. You've got the biggest, best one. Let's build bigger and cooler things to go places. You know? Let's have space marines. Fuck it, man. Come on. I mean, America needs some fucking direction, some sense of hope, some fucking something. I mean, what are we aspiring to as a fucking society now? I mean, and literally, what are we aspiring to as a society? I have no idea. What does America stand for? What does it mean? What do we want? What do you want? Seriously. What do you want out of your government? If you could have anything out of it. I mean, this is your fucking government. I mean, eventually we'll take it back, hopefully. But I mean, it's your government. What do you want out of it? That's how you should think about your government. It's basically like a giant fucking BJ's wholesale club. It's like we all pool our money and resources and then we buy shit at discount prices. Like, you know, medicine. You should get on that. Everyone else in the industrialized world has figured that shit out. Yeah, but these are things we could do. High-speed rail. Brand new infrastructure. Why are we not building fucking goddamn solar roof tiles on everything in the goddamn country? Hell, I mean, we could power half the goddamn world with fucking Arizona alone. It gets so much fucking sunlight. Look at fucking tiles on everything. Fucking double stack that shit, right? I mean, we want to talk about sustainable farming, and, you know, you got all these, you know, hippy-dippy guys. Oh, yeah, return to the agrarian society. You can't return to an agrarian society, but motherfuckers, you know how to grow shit. Awesome. You combine that with hydroponics and warehouses, and we could be producing enough food to feed everybody. Everybody. We produce it now, but we can't transport it. It gets wasted. We can't provide it where it needs to be. The systems necessary to create it would be expensive. $38 billion according to the UN. The fact that we give that much to Israel every year, rather than feeding the entire world, might explain why there's a lot of problems with the world. But anyway, even continuing to give that money, like, we could be devoting our time to creating giant farming systems that would provide food around the world, and that would make us far more secure than a larger military. And I'm not even talking about downgrading the military. These are things we could do. We could be building sustainable housing. We could be tearing down Detroit and rebuilding it from the ground up. It's the old, what was it, the shining city on the hill, whatever. Yo, fuck the politicians, but legit, we as citizens, why are we not doing this? The people of Detroit have been fucked over. Fucked over. Let's build them a new fucking goddamn city, and let's make it fucking amazing. Let's make it the test bed for everything we want to do across this country. You know, and I'm not talking the fucking gentrification and shit. Like, no, fuck that. No, let's make this an amazing urban center. Make this a place for the people. Let's put giant fucking goddamn food warehouses in there where we can produce and ship out from the cities to the outside surrounding rural areas rather than shipping from the rural areas in. You could do that with hydroponics and gigantic fucking warehouses. You can provide all the food you need for a city within the city itself. We have the technology to do that, and it would provide oxygen for the cities. It would help clean up things. The capabilities we have that we don't utilize are fucking stupid. 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 you know? And these are just the things I think about as I'm hanging out here and I'm watching YouTube and everyone's talking about their different shit. And, you know, the thing that really gets to you is that we're all so angry. Nobody wants to blame who's actually to blame, though. Nobody wants to hold them accountable. Everyone wants to get angry at each other for empowering the assholes. How about just all of the assholes are bad? The Republicans, the Democrats, look at their voting records. They're all bad. Well, like 90%. Some of them are actually decent people. But most of them are bad. They're just bad people. Stop voting for them. And it's like, you guys gotta break yourself out of this mindset that these people are the majority. Like, do you not do fucking math? Like what, half the country doesn't vote? Okay, so half the country doesn't vote. So, say 300 million people, 150 million people don't fucking vote. So you got 150 million people left. 75 million of them are independent. Gone. So that's 75 million left, split between the two. How is either of them a majority? Why do people treat them like a majority, like they can't be defeated? They are both minority parties. Both minority parties. Neither one of them represents the will of the people. Anyone who tells you that you need to be pragmatic and vote for one of the quote-unquote major parties in an election because that's the only way to win is fucking lying to you. They're not a major party. They're a minority party. The only reason they keep winning is because the elections are rigged. Legitimately, the elections are rigged. Go look it up. HBO will show you how they rigged the machines. 11 out of 26 states that had exit polling done this year came in without outside the margin of error, all in favor of Hillary Clinton. If you look in the high density areas, you'll see that the lines for the split on percentage of vote are like this. Now, you know what? Just never mind. Never mind. I can't really explain that real good. Go look it up. Anyway, I'm going to smoke a little bit more of this. I'm going to sign off. I got shit to do. Wait. Think about your government and think about what you want it to do. And don't think about your politicians as your government. They're not. They're people in office. They're not the government. They're the ones fucking it up. They can be removed. Government isn't your enemy. Government is how we rein in the corporations. Government is how we get together and stop them from doing to us what they're doing to us. But first things first, we need to take our government back. That's where I was going with this exit polling thing. Look, you want to talk about another great way to use the platforms that we've got and a way forward? You've got presidential elections coming up in 2020. Now, when the exit polling was showing that the machines were rigged, they canceled the exit polling for the remaining states. So if independents and progressives really want to do something about, hashtag unrig, you want to do something concrete about it, yeah, we're not getting the traction that we need on investigations. We're not getting the traction that we need in State departments because this is obviously the work of both parties. There's people involved in this. It's like now the Department of Homeland Security is trying to take them over to secure. It's like, what are you securing? The fraudulent elections because people are starting to point out that they're fraudulent? But here's an idea on what you do as independent media. Crowdsource exit polls. Make sure you crowdsource exit polls for every precinct, every state that you can for 2020. Start pushing for that. Then you create some type of website so that all the exit polling is aggregated so everyone has it, so we can all see. Will it change anything? Does your vote actually count? No, it doesn't. Your vote doesn't count, but it's important that we go out and we vote and we express what we want. And then we do our own exit polling, and then we'll know how we voted. We, the American people, will know what we did, and then we will be able to expose the lie. Backing out of the system doesn't expose a lie. It doesn't help us take it back. Deciding that your vote doesn't count doesn't help us change the fact that our vote doesn't count. Realization is the first step towards solving the problem, but you have to solve the problem. Solving the problem is going to involve waking a hell of a lot more people up to the problem, and that's going to be the long, slow process that we're going through right now. We have to start taking action, because action is what rallies people to us in small numbers, whatever we can do, but we have to make calls to larger action. We have to have plans for larger ideas, and we have to start moving on them. And while we're doing it, we have to keep talking about the things that we're fed up talking about. We have to keep talking about every goddamn stupid, corrupt Democrat or corrupt Republican, or, the Koch brothers funneling money here, or, everything that we already, as independent progressives, feel we don't need to talk about anymore, that's wearing down and is just not helpful. It is helpful, because that's what's waking up the next generation. That's what's waking up the next people. That's what's bringing people in and turning them on and getting them active. We have to realize that we aren't talking to ourselves. We are talking to people who don't know what's going on. That's who we need to be talking to. Now, I'm not sure how to do that effectively. I'm not a great orator. I'm just a guy on a couch, stoned with some ideas. I mean, independent media is saying it's time to get up their fucking ass and put your skin in the game, so I'm putting my skin in the game. These are my ideas. This is what I think. And you know what? More people need to get out here and talk about what they think and what they want to do. Let's get this shit going. All right. Have a good night.